Hey everybody, welcome to another Year of Sundance 2024 edition, celebrating 40 years of independent film. We got some really great interviews coming up for you, so stay tuned, like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching Breezeway Productions.
Okay, looking right for me.
Everyone's smiling teeth.
Well, speaking with
Amber Sealey, director of Out of My Mind.
Nice to meet you, Amber. So tell me a little bit about Out of My Mind.
So Out of My Mind is a film that is based on the YA best-selling book by Sharon M. Draper, and it is about a young girl named Melody Brooks who's navigating 6th grade. She has cerebral palsy and she is nonverbal, and so it's kind of a coming of age, you know, her finding her voice and at the same time the people around her learning how to listen.
Oh, very nice. Tell me, how did the project end up on your desk?
Well, it came through my reps. It goes through different channels. But I also had heard of the book because my daughter had read the book in school and really loved it.
Sure.
And I was just a fan of the book. And then, when I met the producers and its participant, Big Beach, Peter Seraf, Disney, and when I met all of them and knew they were all on board, it felt like it was a really strong team, and I was excited to hop on board.
Nice. Do you have a favorite moment from the film that you enjoyed directing? Any particular scene that jumps out to you, saying that I'll be remembering this for the rest of my career?
I will be. I think my favorite moment was we used an earwig with Phoebe sometimes for her. She had an earwig, and I would talk to her secretly with the microphone in the earwig. And there was a moment where I asked her mom to sing into the microphone, so her daughter, Phoebe, our actress, was listening to her mom sing for this one scene, and I'll never forget that. It was a really special moment.
Very nice. If you can pitch this film to audiences, how would you describe it in your own words?
I have to say that I think, regardless of me having worked on it, I think this is a movie that everybody should see. I think it's culturally important when we talk about disability and accessibility and authenticity in casting. But I also think it's a movie for anyone who loves a good, heartfelt, you cry a little, you laugh a little. It's really it's the kind of movie I think that's life affirming. And so, I think everyone will love this movie, honestly. I do. I can't say that about all my films, so I think this one is it's really important and sweet.
I am Sharon Draper. I'm the author of the novel Out of My Mind.
Wonderful. It's a pleasure to meet you. And it seems like a lot of people we spoke with have read your novel and that they very much enjoyed it, and now it's becoming a movie. How does that make you feel?
Most authors don't get the opportunity to see their work turned into film. Yeah. So this is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. And I hope that every other author gets this same gift.
Yeah. So when they're taking the book and then they're moving it into a screenplay, how did you work with the writer in order to transition it from the book to the film?
I gave them leeway to do what they wanted. I worked with them. I got to go on set and see the characters and see the filming and see the process. And I'm 100% in agreement with the way that they portrayed it. They did a wonderful job. I saw the rough draft. I haven't seen the final yet.
Okay. And how does it feel to have your film premiere at Sundance Film Festival of all the fests?
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I'm not kidding. It really, really is. And I'm just thrilled and thankful for it to be at Sundance.
I could sense the energy, extremely emotionally overwhelmed. But thank you so much and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Well, speaking with
Judith Light.
Judith, thank you for taking the time to speak with me today. So tell me a little bit about your role in the project.
I play their slightly intrusive next-door neighbor, but who actually becomes the character's best friend.
Okay. So tell me about being a looky-loo and being someone that's nosy. What do you think are the key traits that really jump out that make that person, annoying, a nosy neighbor?
Somebody who's lonely, somebody who wants to be with other people, and her husband just died, and so she really wants to be a friend to Phoebe's character, and is also lonely herself, so she has the two things going.
It's interesting that you bring that up. For characters that are in mourning, it can be very painful to recall things of your own memory so that you can start to stir those emotions. How did you work through that with this character?
Well, I didn't. They don't make much of it in the movie, so it isn't one of those things that we have to do a lot of feeling about it. But I've lost a lot of people, so I know what that means. And when you lose people that are close to you, it's in your cell level memory.
So when you do scenes that are like that are very sensitive after a loss of somebody, how does that emote? Does that take a personal toll on you also? I know some people say it's just acting, but what are your thoughts on all of that?
No, you don't. It's a little indulgent to drag your stuff stuff into something. You can use a personal experience and make it useful for you, but it isn't like, oh my God, I can't do this, or this is too painful, or that's a lot of unnecessary drama.
And with this film, I'm out of my mind. What was your favorite memory from working on it?
Being with Phoebe. Yeah, just getting to be with her. The joy of being with her, what I learned about life from her. She was the heart of the film for me.
Speaking with
Michael Chernus.
Michael, thank you for taking the time to speak with me. Tell me a little bit about your role on this project, Out of My Mind.
The film is called Out of My Mind, and I play a teacher named Mr. Dimming, who the main character gets moved into my class, which at the time was sort of called like a mainstream class, and I'm pretty hard on her, so without giving away too much, I might be sort of the bad guy of the movie.
Interesting. Yeah. So how did you end up practicing for the role of being the teacher, of being the hard teacher? Did you look at other films and see how the teachers were, like, I don't know, Matilda, the teacher in that, or something like that?
Actually, I didn't really look at other films. I just sort of remembered my own childhood, going to public schools, and I had many amazing teachers and also many difficult teachers, like we all probably had. So I just called on some of that. I think also the character doesn't think of himself as being difficult. I think he's actually like a very celebrated teacher at the school. He's just never experienced someone like the main character before.
Yes. Tell me about the bad traits of the teacher that you drew from. What made him the bad teacher, and why did you draw on that?
I think a bad teacher talks down to kids, does not assume intelligence or does not assume competence. Like a bad teacher is anticipating the problem. I think ineffective teaching is when you're pushing your own agenda on kids. Like, kids are much brighter than we give them credit for.
It's true. So there should be more care in education these days, and that hopefully that more people focus on the children, because the children are our future. So in closing, tell me about your favorite memory from this film, something that you'll always remember for the rest of your career.
I just remember all the young actors. We shot in Toronto, and it was just an incredible group of young, I don't even want to call them child actors because they were super professional, but they just brought such enthusiasm and such a freshness, and it made me see filmmaking through their eyes with sort of that enthusiasm that as you get older and you're in this business for a long time, you maybe lose. So that was really fun.
Courtney Taylor.
Hey, Courtney, thank you for taking the time. Tell me a little bit about your role on the project.
My character is Catherine, who plays the teacher's aide, who wants to advocate for students being in the same classrooms and integrated with the rest of the students. She's caring, she's kind, she wants to fix a broken system, and I love that about her.
Tell me about the casting process. How did that work for you? Was it put to you by your reps and you auditioned for it, or did it just end up on your desk by knowing people on the project? How did that work?
Oh, no, I definitely auditioned for it. They found me this role, and once I looked up what it was, I said, let me read the book. Because once I knew it was a book, I was like, oh, perfect, let me read it so I can kind of get a better understanding of this character, and I fell in love with the story. So I made sure I brought as much of Catherine as I could to the audition. I did, I think, a couple callbacks. I met with Amber, the director, and we had such a wonderful conversation about where we wanted this to go, and we just clicked, and she loved how I portrayed her, and then here we are.
So if you were to give some advice to other actors that are looking to gain more experience and then book some more roles, what would your advice be to other actors for booking roles?
My advice would be to continue to create on your own. I think I learned that heavily within my acting classes. Another key, definitely get involved with an acting class where you feel like you can kind of work that creative muscle, create your own stuff, write, post things online, make short films. Like, the more you become creative, the more people are watching you, and they can see that you're very serious about this craft. So I would just tell people to continue to work, even if it is you just creating what you want. Yeah.
So don't wait, go for it, do it.
Period. That.
Speaking with
Daniel Stiepleman, the writer of Out of My Mind.
Wonderful. Nice to meet you, sir. We were just talking with the writer of the book and how you guys worked together to make it a screenplay. So tell me about your relationship and how you made the script come together.
I mean, the beauty of Sharon's book is that Melody is a real protagonist. So often in media about disability, it becomes that the caregivers is the protagonist, or the teacher, or the mom. Sharon does a beautiful job in the book of really maintaining Melody at the heart and soul of the book. What's challenging about that is that a literary protagonist and a cinematic protagonist are not the same thing. In a movie, the protagonist is the person who drives the plot forward, who makes the choices. And so the great challenge and the great joy and the great privilege of this adaptation was turning Melody into a cinematic protagonist for the movie. Because otherwise you could slip into one of those movies that's about the mom or about the teacher or about somebody else.
Well, interesting. You started to go into your method. So I like to ask writers this question. What is your method for putting together scripts and what works best for you?
Well, in adaptations specifically, I'm a strong believer that an adaptation is not just, you're not just translating a book to screenplay format, that it's very much, it's an act of interpretation, that you're in a conversation with the author. And I think the key to that conversation is that as the screenwriter, you pick the thing that is most precious to the book, that has to be protected at all costs. And then whatever changes you have to make, because you have to make choices. As story elements get cut, they get changed, you're always remembering what is the most precious thing about this book, and am I protecting that? And like I said, in this case, it was that Melody's a real protagonist.